Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to talk to Marcus from Dixon's Pickins. You can find him on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. All his links will be below. Before we get started, I just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so every time I post a new video, as well as comment below on what you enjoyed out of this video. Let's get started. All right, Marcus, again, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on this channel and kind of talk about what drives you, what you do. And I know most people that will watch this kind of know who you are, but just a quick synopsis. What do you do? What platforms do you sell on? And then also, do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Okay. So predominantly I sell on eBay. That's the main platform I'm on. I have a couple of listings on Mercari as well as Facebook. But eBay is my bread and butter.
Yeah.
I'll probably consider getting into like List Perfectly and try other platforms. But right now it's going pretty good with eBay. And I do consider myself an entrepreneur, mainly for the reason that I've started several businesses, had a couple of LLCs on them, and they just didn't pan out necessarily. And I wasn't seeing the results that I was looking for. So I jumped into reselling. And that's what has actually been successful for me. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, if you know will, but it just was finding the right lane to make it work the way that I was looking for it to work, which was the problem.
Yeah, but I'm actually glad that you said you had other businesses that didn't pan out for you. And the reason why is I believe failure teaches us a lot. Tell me about those other businesses.
Yeah.
Can you tell me maybe one or two reasons why you think they didn't perform as you expected them to?
So one of them was a fitness, a personal training business. Part of it was my drive wasn't there, like it should have been. And I know this, I definitely know that if I would have worked hard like I do at reselling, I would have been successful with it.
Yeah.
The other half of it was I was driving 2 hours to train. Every time I would have to train, as well as trying to get clients locally. And I live in a small town, which is really no excuse. But the women that I would meet that would want to train would be like, oh yeah, I'm all for it. But then when they find out that the diet is the biggest part of it, that's when you lose people. They want some magic pill, like quick overnight. I want to lose 100 pounds. Tell me how to do it. And I'm like, stop eating crap. That's how you do it. And they're like, oh, I ain't with that, man. Is there another way? And I'm like, no. So it didn't succeed for that. Those are my ideal reasons why it didn't work. And then the other one was a window cleaning business where, it was successful. I had clients and everything like that, but I just didn't really enjoy doing it. So, so I just stopped, like in my opinion, there was no reason to continue going to clean windows when I could just list a few more items on eBay and make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So do you feel you took those lessons out of those jobs, and do you think that drives you today?
Yeah. Mainly what drives me, besides learning from my failures, or a way that it didn't work, was the joy. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoy reselling. And when you're passionate about something, you'll get up every day feeling like it's not work. You know what I mean? Whereas with that stuff, I just was like, man, I don't even want to go do this. You know what I mean? But when you wake up and you're like, yeah, man, let me get these drafts listed. Let me go grab these orders. And you just feel like this energy and this passion about it. It just keeps you motivated.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to stay on top of it.
I had a friend tell me this who's also in reselling. How do your Mondays feel compared to when you did maybe a 9-to-5 job or jobs that your business that you didn't like as much? When you wake up on a Monday morning?
Mondays are kind of, and I'm getting better at it here lately. But Mondays are kind of the busiest day of my work week, if you will, because I've got the weekend orders and then I still got to go, sourcing and get my listings done and everything. But the packing the orders is what takes the longest. You know what I mean? So I've been starting to grab my orders during the weekend as they come in and get them packed up. So that way my Monday's not so chaotic. And then I also have other things that I do on Monday that aren't reseller related that also kind of get in the way. It's a good kind of a hectic day because it's busy because of all the sales I made over the weekend. And I'd prefer to be that way than to not be busy because I didn't make sales over the weekend.
Right. We all want to be busy.
Right.
I actually saw your YouTube video. I don't remember if it was a short or the full video, but you were talking about how your sales have been slowing down, but you're still going to grind on that.
So what I meant by that was not necessarily the amount of sales, but the amount of dollar amount of the sales. So like, I'm still making the same amount of sales daily as usual, but the thing is, I've been listing a lot of lower dollar items, and when I mean lower dollar items, I mean like between like $10 and $15 items, and that's only because I had this gigantic bulk buyout of clothes that I got from this guy, and I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and I would just list a few items at a time. Well, I really dug in. I had a whole tote full of stuff left from this guy, and I don't believe in death piles, but at the same time, I wanted to get this stuff listed because it was essentially a death pile. You know what I mean? Right. I didn't want to go out spending more money sourcing until I got this stuff listed, and a lot of it was selling. You know what I mean? As soon as I listed it, but it was selling for $9 to $10 per item. So, granted, I'm still making a certain amount of sales to around 8 to 10 sales a day, but in that one day, I might only made $100. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it took a little bit longer to reach that next $1,000 milestone, as it had been. Like when I first went full time, it was 1,000 here, 1,000 there. Each week it was 1,000, going up. You know what I mean? But this last $1,000 milestone took probably about a week and a half. That's what I meant by things to slow down.
Okay, I didn't catch that. I thought it was just kind of a slower time, which really we're fourth quarter. We're is the grind.
Yeah, we're in the thick of it now.
Yeah. So, mine are starting to pick up a little bit. And you kind of mentioned something. People may not know what their numbers are, and it sounds like you know what your numbers are. How important are numbers to you regarding the reselling business?
Extremely important, man, because when I first started this, as well as like my ex-girlfriend, we did this stuff together. Like she had her own account and I had my own account, and I would do my bookkeeping with the fees, the eBay fees, the shipping, and everything coming out of it. So that way I had a more accurate idea of how much money I was making. And her bookkeeping was only cost of goods and what it sold for. The rest was hers. And I'm like, you definitely are not making the amount of money you think you're making. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like it's important for anyone as a reseller to know exactly what they're making, because that way, if you're buying these items or like items and you're thinking you're making $10, $15 off this item when really you're only making $5, you need to know that, so that way you can be more inclined to not pick that item up or either sell it in higher quantities, so that way you can make more off of it, I guess, in volume, or to pay less for that type of item, so that way you can make more money off of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because in the end, that's what we're in this for, to make money, not to lose money or break even.
Right. And your time is money. So messing with smaller dollar amounts, you might actually be losing money, losing that opportunity. One of the things that I found is I've been working with kind of a coach regarding the business, and they were asking me what my numbers were, and I thought I had a good grasp of what they were. And as they were asking me, I feel as a business owner, we need to be able to rattle that off almost off of the top of our head. And I wasn't able to do that. So at that time it was a little embarrassing, but it gave me an opportunity to realize there's a gap there. And it sounds like, just watching your YouTube videos and talking to you, it sounds like that gap is either not there or a lot smaller than mine.
I wouldn't say it's not there. It's probably, we'll probably just go with the smaller than yours. But at the same time, we could be on the same level, and I just don't know it because we don't exactly know where each other are. Right. But I know that there's things that I need to do and work that needs to be done, things I need to learn, especially when it comes to the number side of things. I'm just trying to be as proactive as I can about learning it. And I really won't fully know until I hire a CPA for my taxes this year. So that's going to be the fun part.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Do you have a CPA in mind?
Not yet. I don't. I'm thinking about the H&R Block route, but I think that's going to be more expensive than it needs to be. So I'm probably going to try and find like an accounting firm and talk to them and just shop around before I make a full commitment to hire somebody to do it, and see what happens from there.
Yeah. One of the tips that I received is you need to interview at least 3 CPAs.
Okay.
before making a decision on who you want. The other question I wanted to say, we were talking about, we were kind of comparing each other because, of course, you don't know what my numbers are, and we were talking about your numbers and what that gap is. Do you struggle with comparing yourself to maybe other resellers, other YouTubers,
Yes,
since we both do YouTube? And
definitely.
how do you cope with that? How do you handle it?
Well, man, I feel like comparison is the devil because if you're always trying to compare yourself to someone, you're always going to either be let down or you're going to feel better than you should. I don't think that you should compare yourself to others, and it's easier said than done. But what you should do is compare yourself to yourself.
Yes.
So me a year ago when I first started reselling was green. I didn't know anything. I was just grabbing stuff. I didn't know how to look stuff up. Nonetheless, talking about a sell-through rate or anything. So compare yourself to your old self and how much progress you've made or how much you've learned or things like that in periods. So like give yourself 3 months and then evaluate how you've done compared to where you're at now versus 3 months ago. And then compare yourself where you're at now versus 6 months ago. And then go from there and analyze what steps you might need to make to get better or, just try to make your processes better as you go along. Never be stagnant. Always be trying to get better and don't settle. Don't settle because the moment you settle, you're done.
Right.
You could be cool making 5 sales a day forever, you know what I mean? But that's not going to really get you anywhere in the grand scheme of things, except for some pocket change.
Right.
If you're trying to do it as a real job, there's definitely things you're going to have to refine and take very seriously and a lot of self-evaluation. So don't compare yourself to someone else that's been reselling for 15 years and has a $100,000 90-day total. Like that's going to kill you. Like you can't get there in months, that's going to take years of work.
Right. I 100% agree. And looking at your numbers, I personally I do my best not to compare myself either. And looking at your numbers, it just helps me, gives me drive that it can be done. And I think that's your goal. I know on your YouTube channel, you say full-time reseller with the goal of helping new resellers shorten the learning curve. And that's one of the things I appreciate about you is you're wanting to help others and bring people up. Why? Why do you have that mindset?
Well, first of all, I'm a Christian. And that's what it's all about is being a servant. You know what I mean? You help others. Someone helped me. YouTube helped me. All the resellers out there that put content out helped me. So I want to do the same. And hopefully at least one of my videos will resonate with one of the subscribers or viewers. It doesn't even have to be a subscriber. But I want to show people that a guy like me that has a real messed up past can turn his life around and use this as a way to sustain my lifestyle, pay my bills, and just overall enjoy what I do for a living. So that's why I started the channel, because I want people to either be able to come to me as a source of information because they know that I'm putting out good, valuable content, or just as inspiration and motivation. You know what I mean? So that's why I put some of the posts out that I do, or put some of the videos out that I do. It's not the flex, it's not the brag or boast, because that's just tacky. It's to show people that a guy like me is doing it, so you can do it too. Because I've got a long way to go, but I've come from a very, very long way too. So
right. And I like what you said, and that's something I believe as well. I'm doing my best to be, I always say, a servant leader. And the best mentor is Jesus. As that servant leadership, I'm doing my best to show that as well in life, as well as on YouTube. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to connect with you, because I knew you had that heart as well. Yeah. And you're doing a great job on YouTube. I enjoy your videos as well as your Instagram. Do me a favor, because I did forget on my last interview. Sorry, Sam. How can people watch you? What would they search up on YouTube, and how would they find you on Instagram or Facebook? That's
just pretty much it. Dixon's Pickins on all platforms. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It's pretty simple. It's, I try to make it easy to find. If you type in Dixon's Pickins, I'll pop up. I'm the only one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'll also put your links below when
Okay.
I get this sent out. So if anybody wants to follow him, all the links will be below. His Instagram, his YouTube. I wanted to talk about that because that is how we met. We had the same template when we
Thumbnail.
got our
Yeah.
YouTube out.
Yep.
Are you still in the Video Ranking Academy?
I'm still in there. Yeah. I don't, once you're in there, you're a member for life, but, I have not fully completed the program. I completed the first half of it. Now I'm in the second half.
Okay. Do you recommend it to other people?
I definitely do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, kind of something personal for me is I was in the Video Ranking Academy. And like I mentioned, I have a coach kind of working on building this business. So
Right.
it was one of those balancing acts. Okay, should I be spending X amount for the Video Ranking Academy, which does have a great benefit, or do the coaching? And I went ahead and went to the coaching route. So you
That
probably
makes
haven't
perfect
seen me.
sense.
Let's go ahead.
I said that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. And I wanted to make sure I told you that because as I'm watching your YouTube videos, I am seeing at least the part that I was in for the first few weeks. I'm seeing those details and those improvements in your YouTube videos every time. So
Nice.
I'm grinning and appreciating what you do out there.
Right.
So, everybody out there that wants to be an entrepreneur, who maybe just wants to be a reseller part-time, what tips and tricks or how would you tell them to get started?
So the first thing that, and I think it's fairly common knowledge at this point, that anyone will recommend you start out with things you have laying around the house that you're no longer using.
Right.
Old clothes, old shoes, old devices. And that way you can get a feel for how the platform you're selling on works, how shipping works, how listing works, how the numbers side of things work. So, I mean, you should really be trying to figure it out all for free in the beginning, minus the fees of the platform. I don't recommend buying anything, and simply because you don't know how to look things up. You don't know how sell-through rate works. So you don't want to go invest in a bunch of money in things that potentially may not sell for months, and have your money tied up, because when you first start selling on the platforms, you're not going to get paid immediately for about a good 2 weeks or so. So you don't want a bunch of money that you've used as an investment to be tied up. So that's one of my things, is to just start with something for free and learn how the game works, so to speak.
Yeah. I think it was Harry Tornado that put on Instagram. I mean, reselling is a business with low overhead, and anyone can do it if they put the time to do that.
Right.
So
that's definitely true. It's not a passive income. It does take work. I wouldn't say it's a lot of work, but the more money you want to make, the more work you're going to have to put in.
Right.
So
I would agree. As you know, my channel is called Abel's Treasure, and one of the questions I'd like to ask everybody is, what is your greatest treasure
that I found?
Not necessarily. It could be a treasure or what you treasure in your heart. So, for example, for me, it'd be my children and the connections with people.
Yeah, I would have to say connections with people, relationships. I don't have very many of those, and as the older I get, the more I value it. So people would probably think like money, but it's not. It's not money, because at the end of the day, you can have all the money in the world and be lonely. So
right.
I think relationships are very important, friendships and things like that.
I 100% agree. Those connections, and you do a good job as we kind of network with everybody else in reseller world and YouTube.
Yeah.
What are some of the tips that you have with networking through the platforms that we use?
So that's one of our most valuable assets that we have. That's a free tool for us to build relationships, build connections, so to speak, build business partners. It's endless, man. And also to just be a support system for someone, because, they might be small or, whatever, discouraged that their channel's not taking off. But you as a subscriber, as a viewer, as a supporter, as a follower, just that comment that, helps either boost their videos in the algorithm, helps their posts get, seen by more people, all that stuff helps. And being a supporter consistently shows the content creator that you're there for them, and it builds them up on a level that they probably wouldn't be able to mentally be at if you weren't supportive. So Me reaching out to somebody on their post or commenting or liking or sharing their post helps people that may not have seen it see it, or my followers may not be a follower of theirs, but if I share their content on my page, it'll help them get new followers or subscribers. So it's just I think social media is a great way to support content creators, or to build relationships, or make business contacts. And
Right.
it's free, man. So why not?
I agree, Marcus. Networking is free and it will help you grow your business. You can network virtually or in your community, and that will continue to help grow your business. So, everybody work on your networking skills. Made note of a couple other items that Marcus and I had in that conversation that hit home for me. Number one was have a passion for what you're doing. If you have a passion for your business, it is going to show in your production and your drive. So make sure you have that passion. Number two, never settle. Continue to reevaluate what you're doing, build those efficiencies in your business, and continue to move forward. And finally, remember the greatest treasure is connections with people. Take care of each other.